Honorable Deputy Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation, Shri Anatoly Anatov, Chief of the General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces, General Valery Gerasimov, ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a proud privilege for me to be here in Moscow, along with my delegation, to participate in the 4th Moscow Conference on International Security. India and Russia are traditional friends with long-standing and deep-rooted friendship. We have mutual understanding on issues of global interest. I would, during this session, like to share my views on challenges to global security. While nation-states remain the basic unit in the international arena, the trend of globalization continues concurrently to the world's mutual advantage. Seeing the immense benefits of globalization, many nations have in fact voluntarily divested some of the authority to regional unions or supranational authorities, partially for most optimum utilization of resources and partly because of the realization that growing non-traditional threats to security like terrorism, religious extremism, organized crime, human trafficking, money laundering, threats of weapons of mass destruction, threats in cyber and space domain, climate change and the like emanate beyond the state frontiers and also have solutions beyond the geographical boundaries of nation states. It has also been realized that traditional instruments of a sovereign state have become inadequate to manage these multifarious threats. These challenges are unlikely to be successfully addressed through utilization of any single lever of power or a unilateral response. Under these circumstances, military power is necessary but not sufficient. Hard power is important, but combining it with soft power is a smart strategy. National security needs of each of us present here suggest that we engage globally and regionally to maintain international order and ensure a degree of shared access to global commons. This entails multilateral coordination to secure lines of communication, maintain robust partnerships, and ensure commitment to international legal norms. It has been experienced that major challenges to global security emanate from areas of ungoverned space. Wherever there have been gaps in governance or erosion in state authority, the vacuum has been filled in by quasi-state or non-state actors. Non-state actors are increasingly becoming the orchestrators of conflicts, serving more as instruments to rogue leaders, warlords, crime syndicates, separatists, religious fanatics, and even proxies to regional/global powers. They have grown with impunity and become the prime cause of instability. Increasing use of non-state actors, either due to inability of state to rein them in or with tacit encouragement of some nations, is fraught with danger for global and regional security. Denial of these trends can be at our own peril. India remains committed to regional and global security and to arresting the spread of terrorism. Since the end of the Cold War, the incidents of conventional armed conflict have declined, reaching a low in the 21st century. Quantitative studies reveal that in the immediate aftermath of the Cold War, there were fewer interstate and intrastate conflicts. And despite global population increases, fewer battle-related deaths. However, notably, the number of states engaged in armed conflict has increased to its highest level since 1945. The multipolar distribution of power is likely to present an opportunity for suppressed state rivalries to re-emerge, increasing the potential for competition and confrontation between regional powers. The globalized media access tends to heighten perceived inequality and associated grievances. Apart from these, population increase, resource scarcity, and the adverse effects of climate change provide the triggers for conflict. Political and religious ideologies that espouse populist or belligerent narratives are also likely to grow. Though inclusive and effective global governance are likely to have a stabilizing effect. On balance, these factors are unlikely to further reduce the incidence of conflict. The distinction between the interstate and intrastate war and between regular and irregular warfare will remain blurred, and categorizing conflicts will often be difficult. State actors are likely to develop an increased capacity to conduct irregular activity, and non-state actors are likely to employ a broad range of capabilities, some of which have traditionally been associated with states. For example, some non-state actors may deploy advanced technological capabilities while continuing to use irregular tactics, sponsor terrorist acts, and provoke criminal disorder. Armed forces today would be required to be organized, trained, and equipped to fight both irregular wars amongst the people and high-end threats at the same time. Military personnel will find themselves employed increasingly in essentially non-military roles, owing to their readiness profile, training, and capacity for organized action, often as the first response to natural disasters and other serious civil contingencies. Orbital space and cyberspace will be a part of the battle space in the same manner as the air, land, and maritime environments. But activity will also expand underground into the deep ocean and other extreme environments. Complex cross-environment links will continue to make it difficult to contain conflict to geographic localities. In addition, economic, financial, legal, and diplomatic conflict are all likely, challenging legal norms and requiring coordinated and integrated responses. Rapid technological innovation will have a significant impact on the evolving character of conflict. It will continue to be a double-edged sword, offering advantages to major powers able to afford the most advanced technologies, but also to entrepreneurs and innovators who collaborate to find new uses for these existing technologies. These entrepreneurs, including smaller states and non-state actors, will rapidly be able to adopt strategies, whereas major powers could suffer from institutional inertia and financial drag associated with large weapons programs. Despite these constraints, global technological efforts must be synergized to check and arrest illegal trafficking of arms and clandestine transportation of dangerous cargo, particularly by air and sea, by screening the freight which may be potentially dangerous for ports and for harbors. To conclude, despite the changing facets of conflict, the sanctity of international system has to be maintained at all costs. This is possible only by strengthening international institutions, by accommodating aspirations of the majority of the world's population, which contains some of the emerging economies. Retreating into unilateralism, ultranationalism, or the politics of identity will produce nothing but a bitter, fragmented, parochial, and dangerous world. Sanctity of nation-states has to be balanced with regional and global cooperation without conceding basic issues of principle. Working together, I am sure we can maintain a secure global order where national aspirations and global obligations can be optimally balanced. Thank you.